Hello everyone, once again, thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with the Senate's rejection of electronic transmission of election results in the Electoral Amendment Bill. In a clause-by-clause vote on the bill, 52 senators voted against, 28 were in support, and 28 other senators were simply unavailable to vote.
May consider electronic transmission of results provided the national coverage is adjudged to be adequate and secure by the National Communication Commission (NCC) and approved by the National Assembly.
Mr. President, I still insist. We want Nigerians to know who has voted or not.
Is challenging the ruling I gave on the amendment sought by Senator Abasi Alban Akpan. The amendment he sought was defeated. Now we have come to this point that we'll have to count ourselves. Those who voted against it, just hold on, let me finish explaining. Those who voted against it will remain on this side. Those who voted for it should remain on this side.
Where and when do means at least when the network was coverage in Nigeria has improved to maybe 90-95% or even more, then we can do electronic transmission. That's clearly what he said. Nothing, and the only way you can certify that is when an official body that can give you the coverage that are eligible to give them, like NCC, they'll give you the exact coverage. But for now, it's less than 50%, and we cannot be able to do transmission now. So I have not voted against my bill. I have only voted on the enhancement of my bill. We have to define when and where practicable, because you cannot do elections in areas where there is network, or refuse to do transmission where there is no network, because it has to be uniform. So when the coverage improves, then we have confidence that transmission of results can be done nationwide. We are trying to make sure there is check and balances in all the process, and there is transparency and accountability. Why we say transparency? Because when INEC said it's ready to do electronic transmission, then the NCC will give us, do they have that coverage? Do you have that coverage all over the country? If they certify it, then we don't allow INEC and NCC to agree on themselves. Let it be brought back to the National Assembly, and we pass a vote of support on that.
Some data have shown that we have only 43% coverage. And this is one of the reasons why the National Assembly approved for Ministry of Communication another foreign loan for the laying of fiber optic across this country. And from statistics, by 2023, we will only have about 55% coverage. So tell me, many local government headquarters in Nigeria do not have internet. But what we have done is that we approved electronic voting, we approved transmission only where INEC feels satisfied that the whole country will be covered. And everybody accepted it. But because our other opponents want to play politics with it to make Nigerians believe that, oh, they are the only ones that want, I brought this technology. I introduced this technology by a way of proposal to INEC, and they accepted it.
If I have to go home, I use Turaya. Now, I have Turaya in my house. So if I'm going to my village, I'll charge my Turaya so that I'll keep on communicating. So you are telling me, as a representative of the people, to support the idea that we should do, it's just like saying you should support the idea that my people should be defranchised. And that is not why I'm here.
There was no victor, no vanquished in this affair. Everyone did what he or she did with full commitment and realization that what we want is one and the same thing, but the path we have taken are different. We want an electronic process transmission system for our electoral process. However, we want to ensure that no Nigerian is disenfranchised in this process.
The President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, presiding over the amendment of the electoral bill. We have a political Editor here, Sumner SAMBO. He joins us. He was at today's sitting. Sumner, glad to have you join us. Well, what's your sense of the number, even before I maybe ask you what you watched Senator Gaya there speak on, the fact that he did not vote against his vote, but on the enhancement of the vote. But what's your sense of the numbers we have? 52 said yes to the conditional, amendment. Then about 28 were absent. 52 said no. 28 absent. 28 said yes. And then no abstentions. What's your assessment of what transpired?
Well, it's thank you indeed. It's a very difficult period for the Parliament because for the very first time in the Ahmad Lawan presidency of the Senate, we've seen the Senate going into a division. This is what the leader of the Senate had been trying to prevent since last week when there was that passage of PIB. But this division actually brought out the underbelly of the Ahmad Lawan Senate, where we could see voting based on party lines, mostly. We had 52 persons actually saying that the transmission of electronic result, of election result through electronic means should be set aside for now, in the sense that the Nigerian Communications Commission would have to ascertain the broadband penetration of the country, the telecoms penetration of the country, and then get back to the Independent National Electoral Commission to talk and see if indeed it's time for that e-voting to go on through transmission of result. And then eventually, these both institutions will now have to approach the National Assembly, especially through the NCC. And then the NCC, when it approaches the National Assembly will call both the NCC and INEC to ascertain if indeed the conditions are right for the deployment of electronic transmission of results. Then the questions that have now arisen from this is that the NCC is an executive body. At what time did the National Assembly have the powers to tell NCC what to do or what not to do? Is the National Assembly now usurping the powers of the executive? And then secondly, the Independent National Electoral Commission, right from its word, as it's contained in the Constitution, is independent. Is that now a usurpation of the powers?
We want to stick with exactly what you witnessed and what you think.
I mean, these are some of the issues all coming up. Because the voting pattern today was because of these things that the senators were saying. That look, most of the senators that their constituent had expected them to actually vote a yes, voted no. And when you ask, they will tell you that it's because they do not have enough broadband penetration or GSM mobile penetration in their states or localities. That's why they were after being enlightened, they decided to go this way.
Let's talk about the fact that indeed this was a vote along party lines. The PDP voted in favor of e-transmission of results by INEC without interference from
some PDP members also voted the other way.
Yeah, either interference from the NCC or even the National Assembly. Where lies the independence of INEC if it has to recourse to the NCC and, of course, the National Assembly before it takes a decision as important as this?
That is the critical question. And the fear here is that this may end up in the courts if eventually President Muhammadu Buhari assents to this bill. Because the INEC is independent to determine its own mode of conducting elections. And a lot of people, even before now, had been saying that INEC actually had the powers to determine how to organize elections, even electronically. And that's why you could see card readers being introduced without a lot of people challenging them. If you listen to previous INEC national chairmen, they have said that when they took a look at this, they saw that there were some loopholes that they could actually explore. And that's why, even last year, INEC tested the transmission of results electronically in some off-season elections that were held. And it was certified to be good. Now, if the National Assembly is now asking the INEC to come back to it and tell it whether it's ready for electronic transmission of result or not, then a lot of people were saying, even some senators actually said today, that they fear that the independence in INEC is being tampered with at the moment.
Okay, and the fact
right,
that the INEC panel chair, he was trying to explain why he voted against his
yes,
own,
I mean, a lot of people were surprised, yes, because Senator Akpan Bassi, who was defending what the committee, he's not a member of the committee, but he was defending what the committee has said, that, look, we should take this gently, and then at the right time, when it is practicable, that will happen. But Senator Aliu Sabi, whom you saw there, saying that, look, there has to be this national network coverage first, and then that national network coverage has to be secure, that they're afraid that there may be hackers and all of that.
All right.
And all of a sudden, we now saw Senator Kabiru Gaya voting a no.
He was saying
and we're now like, okay, why would you submit a report to the Senate and then you are now saying that the content of your own committee report is exactly negative?
Oh, well, what he was saying was that
then, that's why I had to insist that he interview
for the enhancement. Yeah, and what he said there was he was voting for what he called, quoting him, the enhancement. But the Senator Baribe, who is of the PDP, insisted that there must be instead of the voice votes, there should be
a division.
Okay, is that what it's called?
Yes.
Yeah.
For every single person to vote. Yes. What did you make of it? And the 28 people who abstained.
Yes.
How did
let me start from the last one. The journalists there were not allowed to gain entry into the Senate at a point in time when it became rowdy, because they had to go into executive session and all of that. And when they came back, and eventually the Senate president agreed that they had to go into this division, we were surprised that some senators were present there, but they neither voted, neither did they inform the Senate that they were abstaining, but their names were called. At the end of the day, the president of the Senate said some of them went on oversight duties and so on, but some of them were present right there on the floor. So why would they be categorized as absent? That's what some people are asking. When they were there.
Is it redefining what absent
means? Yeah, I mean,
means?
A lot of us actually saw that some of them were trying to kind of like stay away.
In 30 seconds, do you get a sense that the lawmakers actually voted their conscience?
Well, a lot of people did, but the party line, when a lot of senators, like for example, when they started with Senator Orji Uzor-Kalu, who said there's no network in his village, as a result of that, he had to vote a no. Immediately, some senators began to toe that line because he is a ranking member of the Senate, and then he's a Senate leader. Right? If he's a Senate leader and he's towing that line, others will have to start following. And at a point, you could see that line being, that trend. A lot of people were afraid for their tickets in 2023.
We'll leave it there. Politics being played, that's what you call it. Thank you so much, our political editor there, SUMNER, SAMBO.